All right, so
Oh, no,
hello everyone.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. We're here today with Asly. She's a good friend of mine. We met way back when we were both in SAE, going to school. How have you been?
Great. Touring a lot. Little sleep.
That's the way to go, huh? Well, today we're going to ask Asly a few questions, just hang out and get to know a little bit more about her. So, I mean, we bonded back in the day over heavy music and just like heavy metal in general. I was wondering how was your start into heavy music? Like what bands were you listening to, or did you go to a show? How did it go down?
Oh, it was a long time ago, actually. I was like 13 or something. And it was like classic, like everybody into heavy metal, like Guns N' Roses and bands like this. And then I started playing the guitar and I went more into metal. And then I got really into melodic death metal. And one of my favorite bands was Arch Enemy. And I was like, oh my God, because they had like this female singer and she was like so brutal. And I was like, oh my God.
She's a complete badass too.
Yes, she was
both
amazing.
of them.
Yes, both of them. And I was like blown away and I went more into it and more from playing music. And then, I love metal.
Nice. And nowadays, what would you say like are the bands you're listening to the most?
And definitely Gojira is one of them. It's like my all-time favorite because they're doing like this mix of sounds that kind of nobody else is doing. The other cliche one is Deftones.
Okay.
They're
good
really
stuff,
good. And the third one is Crypta. It's like this death metal band, like all female, and they're like technically they're really good.
Aren't they from Brazil?
Yeah, they're from Brazil.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's a really cool band.
They're really good, yes.
Nice. Well, we decided to go different ways, career-wise. You are doing a lot of live audio, like live sound. What drove you into live sound in the first place?
That's really funny, actually. I come from studio as well, and I was really focused in that, but I was really curious about other audio positions, like from film to post-production for movies, and I did that actually for a year, post-production in a studio back in my home country. And then one day a friend of mine, she was like playing in two bands, and they were treated not really well because they were small bands, but they were playing like in a lot of as openers. And then she asked me if I wanted like to do one of their gigs because they're really like the sound guy is not paying attention to them. And I was like, at the time I thought like, okay, I really want to go deep and like search what I like. So I said yes to everything that came my way. So it's good that she found me at a cult because I would have said yes. And
fair enough.
and then I said, yes, sure, I'll do the gig. And then I did not know anything about live sound. And on my first gig, I barely touched the cue. I didn't know how to do it, how you do it. But somehow I managed it. And ever since then, we did a lot of shows together. And then another band, a friend of hers, heard what we were doing. And then they asked me to do the same for them. And then suddenly I was doing like live here and there for several friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it here in Berlin?
No. Back in my home country.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Like how long have you been in the live game?
Oh my God, a long time ago. I was like 20, 21. Now I'm 28.
Okay.
So it's been
a minute.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, keep like staying in the same lane of like live sound. If you're doing like a tour or something with the band, what is the role that you like to do the most? To
be honest, I really like front of house stuff because you're doing like sound to your taste and how it sounds better. Monitors, I think it's a bit challenging because you really need to manage your frequencies and then really know the artists and the musicians and know what they really like on their in-ears, and then monitor their in-ears, and then making sure that everything is clean and everything is like as it should be. Sometimes working with cues, and so it's more complex than FOH. And I kind of like more doing, sound for the audience and myself. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, and that's what everyone's listening to in the end, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And so I've had I have a few bands that I've worked with that they have some pretty complex setups with like MIDI switching for guitar patches and stuff. Like what's your take on that side of the technical aspect of like playing live, like going full whack where you have like count-ins on, the drummer's ear and metronome and having all that versus working with bands that are just like organic. We play and that's it.
To be honest, like I can tell you that it's easier when it's organic. And it's really straightforward, but I really like the complex stuff because then you do like post-production and you really know what's happening for the live show, and then everything's organized, everything should be connected this way, and then you label things, and then everything's really smooth and cleaner than when you do organic. Sometimes it's like, shit can happen. So
I always think it's kind of fun. I mean, that's the nerd on me talking, but I like the technicality of it, and it's fun to like when you see the whole system working, it's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that as well.
Nice. Well, I have a recurring segment, which is like funny stories from tours, from like your experience as a professional audio engineer. Do you have any like funny anecdotes that you would like to share?
I have one that is a bit embarrassing. So there is like this pop artist. I was like booked to work her show, and apparently she's really known. I did not know her. I was coming from a festival on that day and directly into the venue, and I arrived a little bit late. So on the way, I just read the rider, and I noticed there's like 2 opener bands. So I did not know anything. They just said like 2 openers, no riders. So I was like, okay, I go in, I search for the opener, I'm just going to talk to them. So I went in, and then there was almost nobody in the venue. The sound and light guy, they were late. And then I see this girl, and she was just sitting backstage, and I was like, okay, then maybe it's the opener. And so I started talking to her, and I remind you, I arrived late. So it's like really like, oh my God, I really need to make this work, and maybe I'll do some stuff for the opener before the main band arrives, you know? And then I start talking to her, and I start asking her questions about the setup, and I'm like, oh yeah, hello, I'm the sound person for today. And then I start like asking, and she gets like pissed, like really pissed. And I could see she was like standing, I entered the backstage, and there was a mirror, and she was like facing the mirror and then looking at me through the mirror, and she got like really like pissed at me, and I did not know who this is. I was like, okay, the opener maybe, and about the rider, the opener, and then she gets pissed and she told me, no, they'll be here like in a minute, and like really cutting me. And then I was like, okay, this person is pissed. And then I went back to the front of house, and then the light person, they're telling me, you know who you were talking to, right? And I was like, no, I don't know. She's like almost the only person there. He was like, this is like our artist, the main act, and you're asking her like technical things. That was really embarrassing, but yeah.
Well, it happens.
I did not know. Yeah.
Well, that's fair enough. Okay. This is all the questions that I had for today. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, yeah, you're always welcome here. Is there anything you would like to share? Any tours that you might be going on? Anything? What's going on in your life in the near future?
I mean, right now I have with a band 2 more tour blocks left, and actually it's gonna be maybe really cool because I'm using like a normal SPL meter, and now I got smart. Whoever knows,
Nice.
And I got smart, so I'm looking really forward to using it live on these tour blocks. So yeah, gonna be awesome.
Nice. Who's the band? Or can you say?
Kafka.
Oh, Kafka. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, everyone, this is Asly. See you next time.